What the fuck? What is happening here? I do not understand why. Whoa. Why it keeps doing this. This is like the second time in a couple of weeks that stream just breaks randomly. And then I have to start again. Like, it never used to be this. Like, yesterday, all of my Streamlabs settings got messed up. And then, am I live on X right now as well? Oh, I am. Hey, it's working. Oh, cool. YouTube issue, Streamlabs thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm live on X as well, so I don't know if that's created a problem. Let me pop out the chat on X, because if anyone's there, if anyone wants to go watch this on X/Twitter, then I am also live there. Few seconds behind. Cool. Well, let me know how the lag is. I mean, this is all a bit of an experiment. We may as well be doing these things when there's not too much to discuss. Anyway, hit the like button again. Make sure you hit that like button, because we're now doing a second attempt at this stream. And let's wait for the viewers to come back. It should all be back to normal fairly soon. We did have 92 people watching just a moment ago. There are 23 people watching on X. There are 30 people watching on YouTube. Okay. So yeah, if it does get laggy, because now that I am somehow multi-streaming, if it does get laggy, so everyone, like, am I smooth? Am I sounding okay? Am I, like, moving all right? Is the mouse moving okay? Hopefully it's fine. Sound good? Everything good? Okay. I'm just going to get straight into the stuff. Yeah, let's do some TA. So that is a very, very good point. So press record. 42 viewers, cool. All right, record video time. Hello traders, welcome to today's Bitcoin cryptocurrency video. It is Tuesday the 18th of June, 2024. And Bitcoin is still looking pretty bad right now. We had another one of those moves yesterday that just got immediately retraced. This has what has been consistently happening over the past couple of weeks, where every time we do get a little spike up, it just creates a big dump afterwards. Usually, in this case, and what has happened previously, that Asia session. Okay, so we go through a good few hours throughout the middle of the day. This being because, like, you look at the NASDAQ and it's just on an almighty melt up. So tech stocks in general, indices in general, just melting up to create new all-time highs day after day after day after day. It is the fastest and the biggest move above all-time high that has ever really happened. And we're not even going into, like, rate cuts and everything like that at the moment. So we are seeing basically approaching peak bull market velocity on indices and within the stock market, and it's getting into that mania phase. But Bitcoin just cannot seem to do anything. There's just no interest in crypto. So This leaves us with a situation where every time that there is a slight move up, so all of these moves up are essentially new all-time highs on indices. The one that was from yesterday was a new all-time high. The one that was back over here was corresponding with a new all-time high. There was a new all-time high here. There was a new all-time high at the FOMC. There was a new all-time high after the CPI. Okay, so all of these events have created new all-time highs, but what's happened to Bitcoin is it's made a lower high, and then it's, as you've got these slight corrections through indices and just overnight just rebalancing from the market, Bitcoin, crypto, altcoins dumped further. So very, very little interest here. The legacy markets is where all the action is. That is what I personally have been trading a lot more recently, and I am just waiting for this. So I am still of the opinion right now. I was quite bearish yesterday when I did the morning update video and when I did the stream. I am of the opinion now that we just see a long drawn out summer. Okay, and I do believe that we go to new highs after that, but I think time capitulation is probably what we are most likely to see now. I'm not expecting price capitulation. I do believe that has happened. All right, I do believe that the move down to 60K is the low, and I do believe that that will hold, but I think we could go lower. I think we could go into those low 60Ks again and start to fill out this space, even as low down as like 61, 62. And then we do still have some like poor lows down here at that 60K zone that could be taken. However, I don't think it's going to happen all in one go. I think maybe just more of the same. We may get a bit of a bounce before then. We may come back down and do this. And it's just this kind of, okay, staying in the range, that long, slow summer time capitulation event whereby Bitcoin remains range bound and just stays relatively stable, which is quite nice as a trader. Okay, we can just trade like the move up yesterday, relatively simple short position. We can take that back down again, taking out the lows and coming into this 4-hour gap that we have on the chart, relatively easy long position. And we can just keep trading it both ways and see how that goes. But overall, I think with altcoins, we're probably going to see more blood from them until there is a substantial bounce. And what we'll need to see for there to be a substantial bounce is simply to take out some highs, on this chart, and to start getting a bit of a recovery, maybe back up towards these 70K areas. Even if we do come back up there, I think they're still lower. I still think at this stage we stay within this range for a while, but I do think that there are bounces to come and that we could see some opportunities there. Now, when you're looking at this from a volume perspective, if we just put on our fixed range, okay, we can see we're below the POC. So we had that consolidation around the point of control most of last week. We then lost that POC, back tested it yesterday, came into an anchored VWAP from our FOMC highs, and are now seeing further move to the downside. Now, this does give us a target of that value area low and high volume node that we have here at 63. Okay, so this essentially, as long as we're below that point of control, I think just this move down towards value area low, which would fill all the imbalance that's on the chart over here, and then we can start to use that as a base for support for a move higher again. However, when you look at other charts, okay, the volume profile is really quite different. So in spot, most of the volume has taken place up towards the highs here. However, if you're looking on perps, you've got a situation not so much on this chart, it's on some of the lower volume exchanges, where if you do look at the overall POC, then it is slightly lower. So you have 64K, 63K, 62K, all giving you high volume nodes on various exchanges. So if you are to look on the Woo chart, for example, we have a situation where we're essentially split into two ranges here. What I would consider as a sign of strength is to reclaim that 67,800 level, which takes you back outside of value area for the whole range, and then we can be anticipating a move higher. And then we have this lower range where we've got that point of control at 64K, and we're still waiting to see that move down there. You can see from this, we are trading outside of value from this upper range. We are also trading outside of value for this lower range, but we have been caught within value area high on this overall range. So we are just still, as we were yesterday, stuck in the middle, the market a little unsure where it wants to go from this point. Like, okay, have we gone low enough, or does we still need to be seeking further in order to just continue this pattern that's been going on? It is just one of those indecision moments from the market. Every move that goes up gets retraced. Every move down gets a bounce. As a day trader, you can trade both sides of the market relatively well, but it is just, from a higher time frame perspective, one of those things where it's just sometimes easier just to sit back, allow the market just to play out at this stage. When we have a look on the Bybit chart, so again, slightly different volume across everything. Then once again, we're below that POC, making our way down towards value area low. And once again, we do have those 4-hour gaps, which we were anticipating would get filled. So there's the 4-hour gap, there's the 1-day gap. Okay, we are looking at this zone here as being the support, the main support. Now on all exchanges, including spot, we have dipped into that and we are seeing a bounce. However, I do feel that it's likely we fill this whole area before getting that major recovery. So a lot of repeating the same thing of choppy, sideways and down overall, until we see some kind of strength that doesn't get immediately reversed. And it's going to be quite easy to spot this, okay? Because what have we had over the past couple of weeks? We have had this situation where every move up gets retraced and then some on top of that. So we go back all the way to CPI last week, where we had a move up. It was retraced completely and made a lower low afterwards. We then have these spikes up, which then continue to go down. A move up on the Friday here, which then goes down. A move back into this point of control over the weekend, which then again makes a lower low. The move up yesterday, which came into, once again, we had resistance up here. We didn't take out the highs, so another lower high has made a lower low. So until we see one of these pumps that doesn't retrace fully, then I would expect more of the same. If we do see a situation whereby we come up here and we take out some highs and it holds, then that leads me to be looking for longs, to be looking for the liquidity above, because there is a lot of it. All right, if we do look at the order flow in a minute, then there is a lot of it. But the only thing that would get me bullish right now and would make me start looking for longs, some kind of reversal here. Like, you can still long, okay, we took out the low. That would actually have been a really nice long. It happened overnight. I didn't catch it, but it would have been perfect. All right, this is going all the way back here to the 16th of May. The low that was put in there, where we do have the daily gap, where we do have the 4-hour gap. Okay, that would have been a fantastic scalp long position. All right, we have seen a bounce from that, but what we have seen previously is that these moves will eventually end up retracing in full and creating another lower low afterwards. So for what I'm looking at now, I think that this bounce could see a little bit more. If it does come back into daily open, weekly open, that could be an area in which to look for short positions again, to take it lower, and then we will see what happens then. If, of course, we can reclaim, start to take out some highs, then the order flow, the whole price action, and just the flow within the market does start to change significantly, and that is when you can start looking at something to hold on to. What else is there to say here on the chart? There's not a huge amount. When we are looking at let's just break this down, and we can just add on the session volume profile, and we can look at the MPOCs if these load up quickly. Oh, trading view is laggy. There we go. Okay, so once again, we did see the situation yesterday where we had a big move down, and on spot it didn't take the lows, on perps it did. So very similar to what happened right up at the high, where perps took the high, spot didn't. So there is still significant liquidity above this 71,980, 72K level that I do think can be taken. And a similar situation yesterday where it didn't take out the lows. That created this double bottom to take out liquidity that happened overnight. And similar situation, okay, the move up yesterday did not take out the highs. Okay, so there is liquidity above those highs. Now, from a volume perspective, all right, we've had a move down. There is the NPOC up here. So once again, this would be this zone here where I would expect a bounce to happen. Usually because New York sessions have been bullish lately, we could be looking for that move here, but ultimately I still think lower is slightly more likely until we see any major change. Now, looking at if we, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Am I? Whew. Okay, where was I? Let's go and look at some order flow and that kind of thing. So we can look at things locally, right? We are seeing a situation here where we are in fact getting maybe some slightly bullish divergence here on perps, where we see the CVD is continuing to bleed this morning. However, remember we have taken out these significant lows and we have seen a recovery. So I do think that this recovery can go a little bit higher. We are saying that spot is okay. It's trading, well, the CVD here is slightly above what perps are doing. And then when we zoom out, all right, it is just, let's take a look. Then, yeah, through New York session, generally speaking, because legacy markets are incredibly bullish, we're not in that like scenario where every time New York opens, markets dump. It's kind of the opposite right now. So we do see this bid that's just consistent throughout New York session. Will that happen again today? Because remember, legacy markets are at all-time highs, whereas yesterday they were seeking new all-time highs. So we may not see that same momentum through legacy markets that can then flow into Bitcoin and crypto again today. So yeah, overall, CVD is kind of choppy here. All right, we had that big move up, and then it immediately gets sold off overnight once the market's shut. If we look at, again, the bigger picture here, looking at the liquidity, there are bids down here. Okay, there is significant interest in this holding, and where we have the big imbalance is down at 63. So there are basically down here, you have stacked imbalances, a lot of volume to drive price higher. I would imagine a lot of those long positions are still open, and they are going to be more institutional in characteristic or whatever, because that's where you have a lot of volume down there. It will be surprising to see those lost whilst it remains there, basically. Okay, so unless we're going to see a big bounce, it will be surprising to see a movement below that area. So I do still think we're okay. Like, this is the right zone to be bidding into, and we are seeing a situation where we have open interest declining on the move down, we have net longs positions closing out on the move down, and we have net short positions opening on the move down. So with that, there is shorts to squeeze. If it can get a recovery, then it can start to squeeze them, but we have not seen a recovery yet. So there is nothing. I've mentioned this a lot of times, we are awaiting that spark, and that spark does not seem to be coming from anywhere right now. Every time you get a little hint of it, oh, yesterday, hey, we have a nice bullish New York session. No, the only reason it did that is because there is a correlation with legacy markets, and they were bullish yesterday. As soon as the market closes, poops itself again, right? And it just is that same thing. So we need to see a spark that is sustainable, that can actually start to reverse price, and I don't see that coming at the moment. Okay, I think this is a few weeks away still before that happens. So long, slow, time capitulation, slow summer, that type of thing. The overall, like, but again, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, okay, because we are seeing that just, if you look at the prices and you look at where things are, we are seeing that negative funding is creeping in again. So we have a spot premium, we have negative funding. That can remain for a very long time. All right, this could carry on like it did previously for, when was this? 13th of April all the way to the 20th of May. So a good 6 weeks. And then again, we're here, 12th of June. This could carry on all the way up into the like middle to end of July, and we could still be within this range here, still have this premium, still have this negative funding, still being able to accumulate, right? And then later on in the summer, once everyone's returned from their holidays, once the football's over, once the Olympics are over, once the Wimbledon's over, everyone returns back to their charts and then suddenly becomes interested in crypto once again. So no reason to be like macro bearish here at all. It's just right now, conditions are not very good and it needs a cool off. And I think actually that's the healthiest and the most bullish thing that we can have. I'd spoken about this before. If we just go back onto, well, I can stick on this chart. I had the idea that we would come and take out all-time highs and then do this over the summer, right? But the fact that we still have highs, 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 highs to take out does mean that when this does start eventually moving, it should be a clean break and it should not look back. So it does make things easier when that reversal does happen, right? So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but long, slow summer, time capitulation, allow the market to play out. Then when we start getting that momentum back again, what we would like to see is if you do stick around, okay, it can be slow, 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 and then you get this build up and most of the market doesn't realize it's happening, all right? And then pop, you get that move afterwards. That is essentially what I am anticipating for this. And we have history of this happening before. So I am going to wrap this little segment of the stream up in just a second so I can post this as a static video, but we do have history for this. Go back to the last halving, okay, before the last market cycle ran up, where we had essentially similar kind of price action, and you had this just bleed. All right, so we're probably looking at price being, all right, you had some gaps here to fill, this kind of thing. We're probably looking at price being around here right now. Maybe we get a bounce, but then just slow, boring, sideways, and then it starts to creep up, and no one really notices that it's creeping up. Okay, because by this stage, 6 weeks from now, everyone's fed up, all right? There's memes won't be pumping anymore. Altcoins will be at like new lows. Everything will be over. Everyone will be bearish. We will have gone from that fear. No, we will have gone from that anger stage of the market that I think the market's currently in to a pure depression. And then no one will notice that this is going on. And then suddenly they're like, oh my God, Bitcoin's at 88K. And then everyone comes flooding back into the market. And then what happens? You just need to go, nah, fuck off, wipe them all out, and then you go for the big run once more. So that is, we could see something very, very similar. If I just want to say like, okay, last little random thing for this video, time capitulation, long, slow summer. All right. Then everyone's fed up. Okay, it's not going to last that long. Forget it, because that takes you all the way to the end of the year. But long, slow summer, towards the end of July, creeping up, creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. Oh my God, we're bullish. Everyone comes back to the charts. Bang. No, dead. And then we go. Yeah? let's see. A bit of fun. But on that note, I am going to wrap up this part of the stream and this video, because once again, why is it that every time I do this video on a stream, or anytime I do an update on a stream, it's like 20 minutes long. And then when I used to do static videos, they were like 10 minutes long. But hey, I hope that was useful for you. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments and everything. And smash up the like if you're watching this on a video and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to press stop on record. Have a great day, everyone. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Whew, okay. I sneezed in the middle of the stream, in the middle of the video. And like, I need to blow my nose because I've just been holding it in for ages. So back in a second. Better. Let's put my treadmill on again. Do. Hey, turn on. On. And we'll do a little bit of walkie. Who else is in the chat? We got Spitfire Traders in the house. Hello. Hope you're having a good day. Spitfire Traders, if you do not know, make sure you give him a follow on X, on Twitter, and also subscribe to his YouTube channel. Great TA. Again, for all of you who want like actual real technical analysis and not Moonboy hype shit all the time, although I am a little bit of a permeable when it comes to stuff, and I do get excited when prices go up. That's another great account to follow. Also, we have some comments on the stream that's on X. Wee Crypto. You're here on X? Yes, we are. Welcome. No BSTA. Yeah, I mean, my streams do contain a lot of BS, but I would like to think that my TA does not have that much BS. It's just the stuff that I say around the TA that's a bunch of BS. If you want to talk BS, I might do another little bit of this stream where I go over, again, like an I told you so kind of thing about Solana and memes and how it's like, it's just so clearly over for them. But maybe I'll do that as a separate video. You look at the on-chain activity on Solana, it's not looking particularly good. You look at the price of Solana, it's not looking particularly good. And I said this back in March, April, right? It's fucking topped, guys. $98 target for Sol. Yeah. I mean, look at the short. Where's Solana? Let's load all these up. Trading feels so laggy. There we go. Solana. Oh no, look, it's breaking down from the trend line. Oh no. What a shame. What a shame, Solana. So this is something else. I was thinking about this earlier on, and this goes into the whole, like, I think the theme for this stream is, it's not Solana summer, it's slow llama summer. Just long, slow, chill summer. That is the theme of the stream. And because of this, because what we've seen across a lot of stuff is we've had a situation where essentially we had October, November, December last year, entire market did this, right? Then we go into a situation where through the first half of this year, Bitcoin's done this, right? And continues to do this. Altcoins have done this and continue to do this. And Solana just did this and now is doing this, right? So we need a situation where everything just returns back into some kind of balance. And I think the biggest thing that we have right now is that the meme coins that did continue to go higher through the first half of the year, until they've cooled off, we probably don't see the rest of the market doing anything. So I do believe that altcoins will start to, while Solana does this, right, and comes back down to maybe like $100, altcoins that have been here, and maybe some other altcoins have done this, we may see that there's just a slow movement back up, and then Bitcoin just stays sideways for a while. And once we get that balance back, then yeah, I think things can start to look a lot better. But I have been saying this since March, okay? And I can show you some stuff on here as well. I do still think I'm going to do a little video on this, but if you look on chain for Solana, I've mentioned this on stream previously. Okay, you look on chain and everything's starting to cool down, right? So the number of new addresses on Solana network, that peaked back in March, all right? It does seem to be that it's making a lower high, and this is going to cool off. You look at the fees on Solana, all right? Massive, massive peak back in March. It was a blow off top for meme coins for the Solana network. And yes, okay, it's struggling to sustain that, and it's trying to sustain it. And then what we also had back in March and April was the value moved on chain, okay? So trillions and trillions of dollars worth of value on the Solana train moved around. The whales exited. Okay, so back in March and April, they're out. All right, so what we are left with, okay, you look at all of this, that was the exit. That was the mass exit from all of the big money selling their soul, okay? They're selling their soul, literally. And now it's left to just retail to pick up the pieces. And we've seen this before, okay? You just look at what Bitcoin was like in 2018, okay? I think this is a very, very, very similar situation where Bitcoin topped back in 2017, all right? And then you just had this just slow bleed out that eventually dropped. But what you saw was that you still had altcoins that were making new highs and making new highs and making new highs for a while afterwards. So the after effects, like the shock of the big bull market, which Solana had, was still, the remnants of that still left to some stuff making new highs, new things being released. There were a bunch of altcoins that were released in like 2018, 2019. I remember Ethereum made a new high early 2018. Litecoin made new highs early 2018. You had a bunch of stuff that was new. I think Cardano was launched early then, and then had a decent run. So the momentum's still there for a while, and then it just disappears. Okay? So while you still have that volatility, it just disappears. And I'm expecting something like this from Solana and from meme coins over the coming months. And I think that's healthy overall. AZTV, altcoins at AIDS, Dog with Hat was a banger. Dog with Hat was a banger. There were a lot of stuff like Bonk. So this is the thing, like it was such a wholesome thing, right? Solana community was crushed by the FTX stuff. And because it got crushed more than anything else by the FTX stuff, it had a much bigger recovery. Like it lost almost all of its value, and therefore it had a much bigger recovery. And you look at something like Bonk. Bonk was something that after the FTX crash, right, on Christmas Day of 2022, anyone that still held Solana that hadn't capitulated was given a nice airdrop of this brand new meme coin. No one had heard of it before. It just got airdropped into their wallets. And it took over a year for that to do anything. And I think that was really the thing that sparked like the massive like thing with Solana, is this was really wholesome. This was nice, right? It got airdropped. This doesn't even go back the whole way. If you look at like, there we go. Okay, this doesn't show everything, but it was airdropped basically on Christmas Day 2022. And it was just did nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing. And then for those who have remained patient, for those who stuck with it, then yeah, you had really, really, really good. Like that, you would have been healthily rewarded. And this is what created like all the main characters that are around so far this cycle. Just like made millions just from this, like literally just being airdropped this bonk thing. And it was something that just rewarded strong hands. And that's something that's like, was quite nice, but it just got ridiculous. All right. It got completely out of control. And we see these situations now with celebrities launching tokens, just anyone that's trying to, like I say, it's clear it's topped. All right. It has topped. It's done. Like memes will come back and they'll have another cycle and they'll do that. But the hype and all of that kind of thing, this is what happens, is because the greed starts to come in. It's like, shit, we're running out of time here. The attention's not going to be here forever. Is it then all the celebrities pile in, the ones who are fucking broke and who have no money, and they're like, oh, I have 2 million followers on X, so therefore I'm just going to go launch some shitcoin before it all blows up and disappears, before that opportunity goes. Same thing that we saw with NFTs, okay? Once all the celebrities and everyone launched their NFTs, it was over for NFTs. They've never come back. And yeah, okay, you have some projects that will remain, but almost everything went to zero and will remain at zero forever. All right, the market moves on, everyone moves on, the attention goes elsewhere. The attention will never, ever, and I'm very, I'm very willing to put my neck on the line and say this, we will never, ever see meme coin like hype that we've already seen. It will never get to that stage again. Ever. It's done. It will move on to something else. And maybe that's base chain. Yeah, maybe that's base. If they can sort out what's going on base. The problem is, Solana started out, and the whole meme stuff on Solana started out real wholesome. It was really nice. Like the first tokens that were launched, I remember back in like October, November last year, looking at like Honk. And be like, ha, this is hilarious. Like this shit's really funny. And I quite liked it. And I was like, oh, I quite like these memes. They're kind of cool. And it was nice. Like you had just communities making stuff. It was fun. And you had these little sniper bots and people were having a bit of fun with it. And then it got stupid. Okay, you had the racist stuff. You had the like, just one token would launch and then 1,000 would launch afterwards. And now we're in a situation where 300,000, it's less now, okay, because it's done. But 300,000 tokens being created every single day, and 299,999 of them would have been scams and rug pulls. And the reason why I'm not bullish on base is because base has not had a good start to life. Base is probably even more scammy right now than Solana, right? I mean, how many tokens are there that like last for more than like 2 hours on base? Not many. But if we do get a situation where one can just lead the way, and they can figure things out and they can sort things out, and you can get this like nice wholesome thing. Oh, this is the base coin, right? And everyone's kind of likes it. And then that could be the thing. And this is another thing, like the only thing I remain like actually bullish on right now is because the only thing that reminds me of those wholesome times when the first meme coins came out, when there wasn't that much attention around them, are the runes. And that's why I bought into runes quite, like when they had their first like little shakeout. I think that they could do really well. And I do think that when Bitcoin starts moving up, I think runes, dog, waddle, pengu, all of these kind of things, I think that could be the maybe another narrative that comes up soon. But just like I say, my TA isn't a lot of bullshit, but I do say a lot of bullshit. So I could be completely wrong. But that's kind of my take on where things are at. But runes seem to have a cool community behind them. There's not really the scams within runes. People don't really know how to get hold of them. Then yeah, I think they're kind of nice. AZTV, one thing I learned from Donald is when you get disgusted from the crypto market, you just sell everything. I mean, I did I did do something kind of similar. So you'll probably remember like that when I think we were back here again, it would have been back in March, and I did a stream, and Bitcoin had made new all-time highs. So yeah, this would have been when Bitcoin first made those all-time highs, first broke 69K. I was like, oh fuck, I really don't like this, guys. It means like we're just gonna get swamped with idiots now, and like my all-time high celebration stream was just oh shit, here we go. Now here come the idiots, right? I don't know if anyone remembers, if anyone was on my stream from back then, but that's what it was. I was trying to be bullish, but I was just like, oh my God, guys, this has gone like, it's just too crazy. It's too crazy. And at that point, I did sell a lot. And I'm not in a situation now where I'm holding a ton of spot. I do have my alt bags and they are just bleeding and I've kind of written them off at this stage. But yeah, I sold a bunch of Bitcoin when we made new all-time highs because I just knew, I was like, shit. Like we're getting to the, like we've gone through this whole lovely bear market together where like actually the sentiment was really nice. You go through the anger, and I think we're going through some more anger now, altcoin anger. Where's the market cycle chart? Let's bring that up. All right. So right now, I think, here we go. So I think altcoins are down here right now, yeah? I think altcoins are here. I think Solana is here. So Solana's in complacency. And at this stage, probably going into anxiety. All right. I think most altcoins are within anger. And I do believe that with Bitcoin, we're still within that like disbelief kind of stage. Like it is kind of crazy that we made those new all-time highs. I think there is an element of disbelief with it. So what we need to wait, and this again goes through the long, slow summer thing, is Solana needs to make its way through anxiety where it is now, through denial, through panic, and maybe there's a hint of anger in Solana, because if you look at like Ansem and the celebrities, maybe there's a hint of anger. Maybe it's getting to that point already. But I think the depression is where things were actually really, really nice. In a weird way, it was really nice. Like the bear market was nice. You could just trade it. It was pretty chill. Everyone was getting along. There was new stuff happening, and it was nice. I think once we get to that stage again, I think we probably will find that the market will be in depression even if we just stay around here. Yeah, even if we just stick here, it will be depression, because what's going to happen is people have been used to Bitcoin going up in a straight line, crypto going up in a straight line. And then that means that if they've got bills to pay and if they've got all this other stuff, like at least crypto's going up and they're making some money and they're doing that. Now what you get is a scenario where Bitcoin's sideways, altcoins are bleeding, and they probably haven't exited meme coins or Solana at the top. So even if Bitcoin's sideways, right, it's not going up, which means that life happens. Life costs money just to survive. So if your assets aren't going up all the time, you naturally will have to at some point start to sell them. If they have altcoins that are bleeding, they're going to be capitulating out of those. If they have meme coins that they didn't sell at the top, then they're going to be fearing that. They're going to be hoping for the best, and they're going to end up with a portfolio that just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, even though Bitcoin is just remaining stable. And then once all of those people that have got into crypto not because they like to trade, or not because they enjoy crypto, not because they are part of the communities, the people that got into crypto to make a quick buck, and maybe for a couple of months they did, but now they're not. Once all of those tourists who arrived in March, once they've all left, price doesn't need to do anything. Price does not need to go down anymore. Once they've all left, that's when we go back up again and we leave them all behind. So the best thing that you can do right now is just like, don't leave, just stick at it. Like, just stay here, learn, right? Learn how to trade. Research what the next good fundamental things are going to be. Yeah, because the run that happens after that is going to be much better, right? Much better. Darren, I see your thing. So you say they'll be back at 70K, but they won't. I promise you they won't. The reason is because we made a new all-time high, and the previous time we made an all-time high was 3 years ago. All of those tourists, because essentially that's what they are, they come back just for the good times, and they make money for a month or so, and then they disappear again. Because it's been 3 years since they last felt the pain of crypto, they were very quick to come back to it again. They think like, oh, this time it's going to be different. We're going to keep going up to 100K, blah, 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 blah. Now, if we get another run this year, which we probably will, and this is consistent, it happened on the last cycle, it happened again, is first of all, maybe they've been learning, or maybe they stick around. First of all, they'll be annoyed. So what often happens, the first thing that happens is they'll be annoyed, or they'll just try and get out of any positions that they have that have been underwater, because they'll be so pissed off with crypto overall, because it's happened recently. Anything that happened 3 years ago, fine, forget it. Like that pain doesn't hurt anymore. But if they come back now, once we go back above 72K, I would imagine, right? Oh, this was me before when I first got into it. Yeah. They'll probably sell out of any positions that they've got that have been underwater, because they'll be like, okay, fuck crypto, it's over. Or in anger, they'll try and short it because they've missed the opportunity to get a good entry. All right, they capitulated when things weren't really doing very much. And they missed the good opportunity to get a good entry. And trust me, they won't be coming back in again until it's way too late, until we're well above 100K or something like that. And it will just repeat the same thing. They just repeat the same behavior. The people who exit the space now won't suddenly come back at 72K and be like, oh yeah, I'm ready for this again. No. No, it will need to go much, much higher. And it will need to build up to another peak in euphoria before they come back. Because the pain, the recent pain that they will have experienced from this market will just be too big to get them back early enough. So it really is very, very easy. When you get like to that point where you're like, oh shit, here come all the idiots, right? Just sell it all, because the idiots are never, ever, ever going to be right. They're never going to make money. It's never going to happen. And I probably didn't sell enough. I probably wasn't bearish enough. But I was annoyed, and I was a little bit like, fed up of the market by the time we got to 69K. I was kind of at that stage like, oh man, here they come. And when it gets to that stage again, once you understand it, once you know that euphoria is a bitch, then yeah, you'll be able to just easily just exit. Because the next time we peak, that's it. Yeah, the next time we go through, there will be one more peak of euphoria. It will happen. I'm almost certain of that fact, that it will happen. There'll be one more peak of euphoria, and it will be the same on legacy markets. Yeah, they're already getting into that euphoria. There was previous euphoria, and it's fairly quiet again, because there was that bit of pain that they had to endure in March and April as well. And this is the same situation, okay? They had to endure that pain in March and April. There was the euphoria, and they had to endure the pain, and they're not quite back there. Yes, okay, Roaring Kitty's back and all that kind of stuff, but we've had those corrections. All of that's been shaken out of the market. There will be more euphoria to come within that. There will be more euphoria within Bitcoin. It's probably going to be Q3, Q4 this year. When that happens, that will be the last one. And then you need to exit everything. Like any spot that you're holding, just get rid of all of it, because then you're going to go through 3 years, 3 years of shit. Darren, right now I'm concerned we won't get it. TradFi's pump seems like blow off top at the end of financial cycles. We need to get a move on, not a slow summer. No, I think, like, actually, when you look at, so we can go back again. So I'm just going to compare the NQ. Let's go daily time frame Bitcoin, and let's just do a bit of comparison. I remember this last time, like all of the GameStop stuff, the first time round within traditional markets was already happening when Bitcoin was down here previously. So if we look back at, like, okay, you had COVID crash, and then before it started going, it was October 2020. Let's look at where the NASDAQ was in October 2020. So, I mean, okay, yeah, this has been ranging for a while as well. It had been ranging for a while as well. And then, of course, but, okay, 19th of February 2020. February 2020. Yeah, even when legacy markets were crashing, after they topped, Bitcoin still made like 4 new all-time highs. Okay. So even during this big pullback, oh wait, no, sorry, fuck, looking at the wrong thing. Literally looking at the wrong thing. Why was I back in 2019? Okay, October 2020. That's when. So yeah, you were going through a correction. You were going through. So you'd had the mania, right? You'd had the legacy market mania that lasted up until September 2020. And then that went through a correction until December 2020. So September 2020 until December 2020, legacy markets were within a range, were correcting in the same way that Bitcoin is doing now. Now, September 2020, okay, to December 2020 was actually when we were getting like a big rally. Yeah? And then everything starts to move together afterwards again. So even if the legacy market's correct, as long as it's not like really bad, then yeah, I think you can go through some sideways. You can go through that again. and then you get that rotation in towards crypto again, and then you get that everything runs together, and so on. It's just a bit of a theory. Like, okay, November 2021, the Nasdaq peaked, and that was the same. Yeah, it was the same with Bitcoin. But you went through plenty of stuff in between all of that. But there's no reason to think that this can't, this can't just range. Like you'll have a bit of a peak here, and then you'll range, and then maybe Bitcoin gets its chance, and then you'll do this. Like eventually, okay, yes, after election, maybe next year sometime, the chances are it all comes crashing down. Yeah, and then it's going to be really, really bad, because I do believe that we're in a bubble, but I think we are still in the early stages of that bubble. When things bubble like this, they can go so much higher than you think. Like, no one was expecting Bitcoin to make new all-time highs before the halving. No one was expecting Nasdaq to be above 20K already. Yeah, but it can just keep going and going and going. When you go into these bubbles like this, they can just keep on going. Going. But when it does eventually top, yes, it will be quite painful. But there's time. There's time for another run. NVIDIA, as most of these games, to be fair, the market isn't that healthy without the top 10. Yeah, so there's an interesting thing. There's not a lot that's going to stop NVIDIA, right? Because the thing is, like, it's fundamentally, there really isn't a lot that's going to stop NVIDIA from continuing to go higher until sales start to slow. And until their balance sheet stops looking so good, right? So this can keep going through little corrections, but I mean, this so messed up my chart completely. So basically, I bought NVIDIA at $110, and it went to $1,000, and then it did the 10-to-1 stock split, so now it's essentially at like 1,300. So I've done my like 13x on NVIDIA now. It's messed up my chart completely. But yeah, there's not really a lot that can stop it. But I guess you'll get to a point where the demand or like where the supply starts to outpace the demand for it. Right now, I still think, and it's going to continue for a long time, like AI is still building. So AI is still building. There is still a shortage of GPUs globally. There is still a shortage of semiconductors globally. There's still a shortage of chips. So whilst they're still building, and whilst new technology is being made, I don't see a situation where this will top. But at some point, okay, like Google, OpenAI, xAI, all these other companies that are around would have probably got all the computing power that they need, and the development that they can do with the current computer power will start to top out. So they're like, okay, this is probably an extent of what we can do with what's available to us at this time. With the hardware that's available, this is all we can get to. And then the innovation and the building around AI starts to slow. Okay, we're like, okay, right, we've got ChatGPT that's like, we can speak to it now, we can do all of this kind of stuff, but the computing power is not enough to create like virtual girlfriends for the kids in their mum's basement. Like, we're just not there yet. So then it starts to slow, and then the demand starts to slow, and then you see it slow down. That may happen like towards the end of this year. But yeah. Lucifer, the problem with AI is that other than some low-key toy applications, there's no real business value coming from it. I mean, there is. Like, you could have said, like, you got to remember, like, where AI is still in its infancy. Okay, it's the same as like, this is like the short-sighted nature of most people. You don't see what it means for like future, right? Yeah, you can't see that. So it's like with the dot-com bubble. Everyone thought, oh, okay, oh yeah, it's great. Like there was the bubble, right? And AI will be a bubble, guaranteed, and it will probably be a bubble as big as the dot-com bubble. But like at that stage, once the bubble burst, everyone would have been saying like, oh, the internet's just a fancy gimmick. Like it's not going to stop. Like, oh, we can just send emails and we can look at information. It's not going to do all that much. Look at what was born out of the internet, out of that dot-com bubble. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, all these companies that have gone on and done multiple like X's and changed the world since. Like we're like the dot-com bubble and the shit tech that was started in the infancy around there, where you could just like send messages to people. Like think how far we've come with the internet to the point where we can like do streams and stuff like that. Whereas 20 years ago, it was like MSN Messenger was as advanced as you could get. So you can't be short-sighted in it. Yes, it's going to be a bubble, but of course, yes, it's also going to change the world. 10, 20 years from now, the world will be a completely different place. Completely different. Digital beanie babies. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, if Tamagotchis, beanie babies, all of this thing were like big then, think what AI could do. Like, there will be, like, kids are going to have virtual girlfriends. Little nerds are going to be able to create virtual girlfriends that will talk to them and that will look real when they speak to it on a video. Like, that shit's going to happen, isn't it? That is going to happen. It's scary. It's scary, but it's going to happen. Man, I have been talking some absolute trash in this stream. Oh dear. For Glyph, who's watching on X, I am still live on YouTube, but the stream changed for some reason, weirdly. All right, I think I'm probably going to wrap this up. So we've been live for a while. There's nothing technical to really talk about, is there? So, oh yeah, do I want to look at any altcoins? LDO ETH. I mean, let me look at dollar first of all, because otherwise I won't have a clue where it's at overall. I quite like LDO. Because the thing is, like, it's not really done. The problem with LDO, right? It's got a really high valuation, hasn't it? So is it more of a Lido, right? That's number 56. It's okay. I don't really know technically. LDO ETH, No, there's no audio ETH. But yeah, I'll look at this. It's yeah, so this is the kind of thing that, like, it's a chart that's just remained relatively stable throughout everything, which in a way is kind of good. Yeah. You're just trading between like $1 and like, or $1.60, $4, $1 to $4. You've got that nice like 4x type of range that's playing out. And if we do get another phase within the market, I think Lido, I don't know enough about it, but I know it's staking, it's Ethereum, it's all of that kind of stuff. Because I did have Lido staked ETH. I think it was Lido staked ETH. So it's one of those that if Ethereum starts getting a move on, which I'm sure it will at some point, with then I think Lido could do really well. And I know that a lot of this, so the thing with Lido is it probably had, because there are a lot of people, myself included, that were staking Lido on like Eigenlayer, or Lido staked ETH on Eigenlayer in order to get the airdrop, which then happens. So then you're seeing a bit of a sell-off since then. And then maybe there's some new narratives and stuff that can come out. Actually, it's kind of cool. Like I like that it's just in a range. There's not really much that you can do with TA on this. The Lido ETH chart is good. So you'd say if yeah. Yeah, I don't have too much to say on it. I from a technical perspective, you're back down at range lows, and it's holding where you would say like there's imbalance here. So you had a bit of a big impulse, and then you're holding around there, and then you've got this order block below. So if you're holding this like zone of support roughly, then it's decent. But there's not really, from a TA POV, there's not a huge amount more that you could say for this. But yeah, the USDT chart looks decent as well. One of those that, I mean, it just looks like it's going through just a very long accumulation. And then eventually that very long accumulation ends up looking like this when it does mark up. Because if you think of the total value locked in it, I know it's big. I know it's like CRV was back in the day. And it's got a $2 billion valuation. There's no reason to think that that can't get to like a $10 billion valuation when the things kick off again. So looks like something I'd want to scalp rather than hold. Yeah, it's either or. Like, I don't know if. Okay, look, you took out these lows earlier on. You had a real decent recovery from that. It had, so from a trading point of view, it's been decent. 4-hour time frame. But I've never traded it, so I can't tell you how it reacts. But it seems good enough. Seems good enough. Can you look at stacks, lol? I'd rather not. I'd rather not. It's the same with like, look, all this stuff that I was thinking would do really well. I still believe in stacks, but yeah, it's maybe reconsider. It's just, it had that break, and I was like, oh man, this is good. But yeah, market's falling apart. It's actually where this is, stacks. I didn't think we were going to get to that point, and I think it's the same with everything else, but it has, right? Look on the daily time frame. Where's the low that got put in? Whoops. There is not really anything, like, I mean, unless you go much lower down here, back to $1, there's not really anything else that needs to clean up. So again, that trade obviously didn't work out, got stopped, but from a spot hold, not bad. And I still think that stacks is one that's going to do quite well over time. Tau was a similar one. So had my bids, right, around $300. It went way lower, but I think Tau is a real nice opportunity. And you look at the daily candle so far on Tau. Yeah, some altcoins have they've gone through a whole cycle. Like Tau has gone through an entire market cycle within the last few months. It's insane. But massive, massive opportunities here. Like, you're so cheap. You got the opportunity to buy Tau under $250. I was thinking like 300 would be a gift, and it went all the way down to 250. So like that's insane. It's insane. And this, I think this will be fine. But we've seen that about like other assets as well. TIA, I think, will be fine. I think it will be fine. Again, we look at this. I haven't like really done anything with TIA or added to my bags or anything like that. But again, it's done a market cycle. Okay, you're approaching, I think, desperation and depression here. But I think it'll be fine. I think you're going higher. I think like if we get another cycle for this to go to like $100 or something, there is stuff that's died, but like the Celestia ecosystem and Atom in itself and everything seems, seems good. Remember when you told me not to sell Tau? I mean, I wouldn't sell Tau. It depends where it was. Yeah. When you just got to accept like shit like this happens. And this is a market cycle. And if you didn't get out near the top, and if you didn't take profits up near the top, like I rode TIA from like $2 all the way up to $20. I took shitload of profit along the way. I still have a bag of it that I'm holding, but I don't care. I don't care. And it's the same with Tau. It's the same as like Rio. The thing that you've got to be real careful of right now is stuff. The whole like deep in real world asset stuff that I'm seeing getting hyped a lot still. I don't know if that's ever going to come back, because I've seen RWA assets that have been hyped in the past. Rio is a good example of that. I do still hold a little bit of this. But I made good money on this on the move up. And I just don't think a real world asset crypto's just ever going to survive. They have their moment and then they disappear. And another one of those, unfortunately, is Zeph. Yeah, I made real good money on it on the way up, and now it's like back down to all-time lows again. I don't think it's coming back, but that's part of the game. Okay, you take your profits on the way up, and then if you're left with a moon bag and it doesn't get to that point, fine. But this reminds me a lot of something like Haven Protocol. I think it was this. Was it HXV? Haven? It might have been this one. Maybe not. Haven. I don't know what it is. XHV. Yeah, this one. Zeph kind of reminds me of this chart. And this is, again, another one in the previous cycle that I did really, really well from on the run up. You always leave some in afterwards, and then it's just worthless piece of shit now. This is another like staking privacy coin. So yeah, there'll be a load of new stuff that comes out. Some stuff that I'm bullish on. Aether. This is new. I have a node on this, so I run a node for Aether. That's one of like the new breed of the AI things that I think will do well. But I don't really know much else that's coming out right now. There's another one. There's a few other things. But yeah, just This is the problem. Once something's had a market cycle, I just can't rely on it to do it again. And I think it's becoming increasingly obvious. You look at stuff that was like so loved in previous cycles. Like let's take AVAX, for example. You look at stuff that was just so, everyone loves AVAX, or everyone loved AVAX. But you got to understand, once it's had its market cycle, like AVAX had its time in 2021, 2022, it might not ever have that time again. And in a way, as much as it pains me to say it, I don't believe this is the case at all. But like Dogecoin, maybe it had its time. Maybe the market moves on. I really hope that isn't the case, because I think it's, I like Dogecoin. But you've got to accept that sometimes that's just what happens. The market moves on and it goes on to its new thing, which is why I was saying earlier, I don't think memes will ever come back. I don't think we'll have another meme cycle. I think you've got to just constantly, and it's becoming more and more obvious, unless you are staying up to date. This is the great thing. This is a great opportunity, because if we are going to go through a long, slow summer, there'll be new stuff that emerges. But unless you're here and you know what it is, you'll be stuck holding the same stuff that pumped back in October, November last year, and it won't come back again. Some of it might, but a lot of it won't. So you've just got to stay in it. Stay in it. Keep researching. Keep looking for what the new narrative is that hasn't had a cycle yet. Because at some stage, everything has a cycle. But the longer you're here, the more you realize that if you can get 2 cycles out of anything, then you're lucky. Most stuff, 1 cycle, done. Moves on to the next thing. And it's the same with like the devs. They'll build something, they'll make their money, they'll dump it, they'll never return, they'll move on to the next thing. How about Clay? I bought some of the lows as a degen play because of how crazy Koreans went on the last cycle. Really don't think it will happen. Yeah, I mean, if it was around last cycle, probably won't. Do you really think Pepe, Bonk, and Floki won't go crazy during alt season? No. I mean, this is the thing. Like Pepe and Bonk, possibly. I've never really liked Floki. I think the guy who made it's a bit of a weirdo. And maybe tokens, because they did Floki and then they moved on to token. Which is the new token for Floki. Same people, same guy. And he'll probably move on to something else. Because did token have a cycle? USDT? Yeah, it did. So he'll probably move on to something else again now. Like, it's just what that guy does, really. He made Floki, and then he made token, and now he'll probably make something else. And then that will probably pump in the same way because he's got like all of the shills on his side. But yeah, Pepe, I'm sure will come back. Bonk might do, but the thing is, we kind of thought that about Doge. So if Doge doesn't, then the others won't. But yeah. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, both on X and on YouTube. I'm going to call it a day there. I'm going to upload the Bitcoin video that I did earlier on. So if you did miss my Bitcoin analysis, then please make sure you go and rewatch that. I'm going to upload that in just a second onto both X and onto YouTube. But I'll be back again tomorrow morning. So same place, same time, maybe a little bit earlier tomorrow. I just did this a bit later because we had our voice chat earlier. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon.